Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 10 Part 33 based on novel. So let's start. When Joyo walked into the arena, many surrounding pairs of eyes gathered and focused their attention on him. Back then, little Martin was undoubtedly the most dazzling figure amongst his generation. At that time, Joyo was merely a timid youth who followed behind him. Hence, no one expected that 100 years later, this once unassuming young man would become the greatest competitor to little Martin for the position of tribe leader successor. Haha, big brother Arjiao. We have not met for 100 years. I will be seeking pointers from you today. Joyo cupped his hands towards little Martin and smilingly said, "You have seriously changed." Little Martin took a glance at Joyo. Back then, this once quiet young man with low self-esteem, who had even trembled when he first stood in front of him, had undergone a complete transformation. Big brother Arjiao has always been a target that I wish to surpass. If I don't change, I'm afraid that I will never be able to do so. Joyo smiled. His eyes stared intently at little Martin. Perhaps it was because of the angle, but little Martin could see a ferocious expression from his smile. The person in front of him was no longer the same timid young man, who needed his help when he was being bullied. In that case, allow me to see if your current self has the ability to do so. Some ripples were stirred within little Martin's eyes, before they quickly disappeared. After which, a sharp glint slowly gathered within his eyes. If the both of you do not have any objections, this match shall determine the tribe leader successor. However, both of you must remember that this is a spar and neither of you are allowed to use lethal force. Standing on the stage, Chu Li looked at the two figures in a face-off. Then, he secretly sighed before he spoke in a deep voice. "Big brother Arjiao, please show mercy." Even though Joyo was full of smiles, his eyes did not contain even the slightest bit of joy. Instead, there was an icy chilliness in them. After all, he wanted everyone to see that this once dazzling top genius of the celestial demon Martin tribe will be trampled by him today. Bang! A frightening aura came whistling out from his body as his voice sounded. Vast and mighty Yuan power surged around Joyo's body. Life chi and death chi were perfectly merged together in his Yuan power. Evidently, he had reached the samsara stage. Little Martin took a step forward. A similarly powerful aura also radiated from him and suppressed Joyo's aura. Straightening all his fingers, there were sharp purple-black light arcs dancing between them. "Big brother Arjiao, it seems like you have not spent the past 100 years in vain. Back then, you had yet to advance into the samsara stage." Joyo smilingly said. However, there was no surprise in his eyes. Clearly, he already knew about little Martin's strength. "However, I wonder if your samsara stage strength is stronger or if mine is better." A cold glint flashed deep within Joyo's eyes. His body moved before he directly appeared beside little Martin in a phantom-like fashion. Soon after, he transformed into many afterimages. Each of these afterimages straightened all 10 of their fingers, before an extremely sharp and icy cold force mercilessly smashed towards the fatal spots all over little Martin's body. "Our tribe's demon illusion body has been mastered by you. However, it is useless against me." Little Martin looked at the many afterimages which had appeared in his vision, before he chuckled. Purple-black light flashed across his eyes before he suddenly slammed his palm forward. Vast and mighty Yuan power rose from his palm, like the rising bright sun. Bang! Little Martin's palm smashed heavily against one afterimage. Subsequently, the other afterimages collapsed before the real Joyo also appeared in a flash. His two straightened fingers were pressing against little Martin's palm, while vast and mighty Yuan power covered his entire arm. Crack! The stone floor under both parties' feet cracked because of the Yuan power seeping out from their palm and fingers. "You should come at me head-on if you wish to defeat me. These techniques are useless against me." Little Martin glanced at Joyo, who was standing in front of him, before he said in a faint voice, "Ha, in that case, I shall do as you say." Joyo smiled. However, the icy cold glint within his eyes intensified. He withdrew his fingers before his body rose directly into the sky. Moving both of his hands, vast and mighty natural yuan power came whistling forth like floodwaters. After which, one could see many dark purple stars forming in Joyo's palm. Great 9 stars palm. Many onlookers around the square exclaimed upon witnessing this scene. Clearly, this so-called Great 9 stars palm was quite renowned in their celestial demon Martin tribe. Great 9 stars palm her. Some emotions also rose from within little Martin's eyes. Soon after, he took a step forward before a fluctuation appeared on his palm. It turns out there was also a purple color star array forming on his palm. Clearly, he was planning to use the same martial art. Wild and violent yuan power whizzed across the place like a flowing river. Within 10 breaths' time, a 9-star array was formed in both little Martin's and Joyo's palm. The 9-star arrays were dazzling, but everyone could detect a powerful energy contained within. In fact, even an ordinary samsara stage expert could only dodge when up against this formidable attack. The both of them turned to face each other after their attacks were formed. They could both see an unfriendly emotion from the other party's eyes. Yuan power gushed forth an instant later before 2 huge light palms collided. After which, the 9-star arrays danced between their glowing palms while giving off a shocking force. Bang! The light palms were just like 2 meteorites colliding in the sky. As a dazzling light spread, the violent energy ripples began to spread like floodwater. Both of them remained unbudging despite the impact from the energy assault waves. Their eyes were just like that of a sharp eagle's as they stared intently at each other. After which, both of their bodies disappeared simultaneously. A deafening rushing wind sound reverberated across the sky. 2 light figures crossed each other in a phantom-like fashion. When their palm attacks clashed, vast and mighty yuan power would spread. In fact, the force from each palm attack could easily destroy a mountain, and it was truly a heart-stirring sight. Jiao and Joyo are equally matched. Such a fight is indeed going to be an intense one. Zhu Li stared at the 2 light figures clashing violently in the sky, before he involuntarily nodded and said, Joyo has trained exceptionally hard over the past 100 years. Although his talent is inferior to Jiao, his character does not lose out to the latter. An elder commented in a faint voice. His tone clearly indicated that he was rooting for Joyo. Zhu Li glanced at this elder, who had quite a huge say in the celestial demon Martin tribe. Since a long time ago, this fellow bore a grudge against little Martin's father. Hence, he was naturally unwilling to see the position of tribe leader successor fall into little Martin's hands. Although Jiao is arrogant and untamable, he has improved after being tested for the past 100 years. Moreover, if our celestial demon Martin tribe loses that sharp spirit, we will likely become unworthy of the name celestial demon Martin. Another elder laughed and said. With these 2 clashing with their words, the remaining elders also began to voice their opinions. However, from the looks of it, it seems like there were more elders who supported Joyo. After all, Joyo's performance over the past 100 years could only be described as flawless. Zhu Li involuntarily frowned after hearing the arguments from the elders. After which, he did not voice his opinion as he lifted his head to look at the 2 figures in the sky. From the looks of it, the both of them were very powerful, and it was no easy task for either one of them to defeat the other. Therefore, there was a very high likelihood that this match would end in a draw. Boom! The 2 figures crossed each other in the sky. Vast and mighty yuan power came sweeping forth, before the both of them shot backwards. After which, their bodies shook before 2 pairs of 10,000 feet large bat wings were extended behind their backs, blotting out the sun in the process. However, Joyo's bat wings were dark black while little Martin's wings had some mysterious purple-gold symbols. This indicated that little Martin had a purer bloodline. The 2 pairs of bat wings slowly flapped before 2 giant hurricanes, that were tens of thousands of feet in size, were swiftly formed in front of them. One was black, while the other was purple-gold. Rumble. The entire world was turned into a mess after being ravaged by these 2 huge hurricanes. In fact, some surrounding mountains, that were more than 100,000 feet away, even began to collapse. The two of them extended their hands simultaneously before they directly reached into their huge hurricanes. Their arms shook before the two enormous hurricanes turned. They appeared just like two wind dragons as they wildly whistled forward. Boom! The two hurricanes with vast and mighty yuan power clashed in the sky. After which, they left numerous dark black cracks in the empty space itself. In fact, the entire world became dimmer. Crack, crack. The two of them had poured a relatively large amount of yuan power into their respective hurricanes. However, they still ended up in a stalemate. Clearly, the two of them were quite evenly matched. Such powerful individuals. Unexpectedly, Joyo is still so formidable despite being missing for 100 years. Joyo is also pretty decent. However, from the looks of it, he is still unable to defeat Big Brother Joyo. A draw is already a pretty decent result. If it was not because Big Brother Joyo was ambushed and had went missing for 100 years, it is likely that no one within the Celestial Demon Martin tribe could contest with him for the position of tribe leader successor. That's right. Many conversations began to spread from below, while the crazy face-off in the sky entered into a stalemate. Joyo's hand suddenly grabbed his black hurricane. His face, which was originally filled with a warm smile, suddenly became extremely icy cold. Meanwhile, a venomous and unwilling glint was flowing within his pupils. You bastard! Do you know what kind of price I paid over the past 100 years in order to obtain this strength? Don't tell me that I still cannot defeat someone like you, who has been hiding and recuperating as a fragmented existence over the last 100 years. Joyo secretly bellowed while dense fury surged in his heart. This caused a scarlet color to vaguely appear deep within his eyes. I am the most outstanding person in the Celestial Demon Martin tribe. The scarlet color in Joyo's pupils grew increasingly dense. He suddenly clenched his hand, which had been inserted into the black hurricane, before a strange symbol stealthily appeared. How can a genius like you understand the pain that I had to go through? Like I said, Joyo, will definitely trample you today. A black symbol appeared on Joyo's palm. It looked akin to a complex network of tree roots. Countless black light rays spread before they filled Joyo's entire palm. Faintly, extremely dark and vicious ripples began to spread. I have waited 100 years for this. How can I let you off so easily today? Joyo inserted his palm into the black hurricane. Both his eyes contained a scarlet color as he stared at the distant little Martin. Following which, he secretly smirked before he suddenly clenched his hand. After Joyo clenched his hand, it was possible to see many densely packed black light rays shooting out from his palm, which was hidden within the black hurricane. Those black light rays shuttled within the black hurricane and they looked like complicated meridians. These black light rays were mixed with the black hurricane, causing its color to deepen. However, it was difficult to detect this change with one's naked eyes, as these two colors were fairly similar. Only some powerful elders vaguely realized that Joyo's hurricane had suddenly become much stronger. Bang! Many cracks were continuously formed in the empty space where the two hurricanes collided. Loud thunderous noises also spread in waves and resounded across the sky. These two hurricanes contained the vast and mighty yuan power from the two of them respectively. Even if they casually swung them around, these hurricanes still possessed a force that could shake the world. Moreover, the two of them were evenly matched, and even in an intense fight like this, it was still very difficult to tell who would obtain the upper hand. However, it was clear that this stalemate would not last forever. The moment those black meridians spread across the black hurricane, the empty space where these two hurricanes collided also began to collapse at an even faster pace. Meanwhile, the wild and mighty yuan power present within the purple-gold hurricane actually began to dissipate a little at a time after being corroded by that black hurricane. The stalemate was instantly broken at this moment. The black hurricane was just like a brutal black dragon that had left the abyss, as it roared towards the sky and ruthlessly charged towards the purple-gold hurricane with a brutal expression. Bang bang bang. Up against this fearsome attack from the black hurricane, the purple-gold hurricane, which was originally evenly matched with the former, actually began to collapse an inch at a time. After which, just like a triggered chain reaction, the 10,000 feet large, fast and powerful yuan power purple gold hurricane exploded in front of many stunned onlookers. After the purple gold hurricane collapsed, Joyo's body flashed like a black ray of light. In the next instant, he appeared in front of little Martin, who was currently in shock due to this unexpected development. After which, he threw his palm forward. There were peculiar black tattoos wrapped around Joyo's palm. Those black tattoos wiggled quietly like poisonous snakes, appearing extremely dark and sinister. Humph! Little Martin snorted coldly in his heart after he saw that Joyo was still chasing after him. Clenching his fist, purple-black light swiftly gathered in his palm. After which, he gathered all the strength in his body and threw a punch forward. Joyo involuntarily split his lips into a smile after he saw that little Martin was planning on countering his attack head-on. Meanwhile, his expression became even more sinister. Bang! A fist and palm clashed, before a huge energy ripple, which could be seen with one's naked eye, swept across the sky with a loud bang. In fact, the shockwave completely shattered the clouds in the sky. Standing beneath that terrifying energy assault wave, the expressions of everyone below changed drastically. This was because they saw little Martin's body flying backwards by 10,000 feet. After which, he slammed heavily against the wall of a mountain, causing large rocks to tumble. A series of shocked exclamations spread below. This fight had actually ended with Joyo gaining the upper hand. How is this possible? Previously, Joyo was evenly matched with Jiao. Why did he suddenly become so much stronger? Wu Zhong clenched his hand tightly and cried out furiously when he saw this scene. Some members of the Celestial Demon Martin tribe in the vicinity also frowned slightly. Clearly, they did not comprehend the situation. On the stage, when Zhu Li's group saw this scene, they were all shocked as well. After all, based on the strength that the both of them had displayed previously, their fight should not have concluded this quickly. It seems like Joyo still came out on top. But this is only to be expected. Everyone has witnessed his hard work over the past 100 years. Jiao might be shockingly talented, but he is still lagging behind by 100 years. An elder laughed as he said, First elder, this match has already been decided. Shall we? Another elder, who also supported Joyo, nodded and asked. Zhu Li frowned, before he exchanged glances with a couple of elders. After a brief moment of hesitation, he helplessly nodded his head. Joyo wins. Zhu Li lifted his head, before he looked at the figure in the sky and announced in a deep voice. Big brother Jiao, thank you for the victory. Joyo's face once again regained its usual warm smile. He looked at the dented mountain wall in the distance, before he cupped his hand together and smilingly said, Bang! The mountain wall exploded before a figure rushed out as rock fragments flew. At this moment, little Martin's expression was a little gloomy and there was still some black chi lingering over his long arms. Moreover, those black chi were trying to invade his body from all directions. Fortunately, he managed to block them after using his full strength. After all, those energy were extremely overbearing. Little Martin furrowed his brows. Previously, Joyo was only able to fight equally with him. However, the former subsequently used some hidden techniques which allowed his strength to soar abruptly. Moreover, his techniques were a little peculiar. That power does not belong to you, am I right? Little Martin's sharp eyes stared at Joyo as he slowly said. Big brother Jiao, what are you saying? Joyo smiled faintly. Then, he completely ignored little Martin as he turned around and looked at Zhu Li below and said, First elder, since the match has been decided, may I know if the position of tribe leader successor? Zhu Li secretly sighed. After which, he nodded and said, From today onwards, the new tribe leader successor of the Celestial Demon Martin tribe is Joyo. An uproar spread across the square when Zhu Li's voice sounded. Many members of the Celestial Demon Martin tribe had a look of pity as they stared at little Martin. Who could have imagined that this once incomparably dazzling genius would actually end up defeated? Little Martin ignored the many pairs of eyes. He merely took a deep glance at Joyo before landing on the ground. Jiao. Wu Zhong hurriedly came forward to greet little Martin after the latter landed on the ground. Then, he gritted his teeth and said, "How is it possible for that fellow to defeat you?" Little Martin waved his hand. Although he also had some doubts in his heart, voicing his doubts now would clearly cause members of his tribe to think that he was a narrow-minded individual, who could not accept his loss. Hence, it was pointless for him to say anything for now. Joyo stood alone in the sky as he overlooked the many members of the celestial demon Martin tribe from above. The warm smile on the corner of his lips grew even richer, and this was especially the case when he saw little Martin's lonely figure. In fact, there was joy rising from within his heart. He was not blessed with extraordinary talent since young. Fortunately, he possessed a sharp mind and a ruthless heart. Hence, he was finally able to trample over this once dazzling genius of the celestial demon Martin tribe. This alone was sufficient to prove that he was the most outstanding person in the celestial demon Martin tribe. From today onwards, no one within the same generation of the celestial demon Martin tribe would be able to compete with him. In the near future, the entire celestial demon Martin tribe will also fall under his control. Joyo had the impulse to laugh out loud when he thought of this. After enduring for so many years, he had finally tasted success. "Let's go," little Martin said to Wu Zhong. After which, he turned around and left. Wu Zhong could only sigh upon seeing this. He understood little Martin well and knew just how proud the latter was. As such, he knew that little Martin must be feeling extremely terrible about the defeat that he suffered today. To think that someone from the celestial demon Martin tribe would actually use the strength of the YMO. How unexpected. However, a familiar laughter was suddenly transmitted from the distance, just as little Martin turned around. Finally, it reverberated across the sky while being wrapped by yuan power. Lindong? Little Martin's body stiffened when he heard this laughter. He suddenly turned around and looked at the sky with joyous eyes. "Who is it?" Standing in the sky, Joyo's expression suddenly changed before he cried out sternly. Standing below him, the many experts from the celestial demon Martin tribe were also startled. Immediately, they scanned their surroundings in an attempt to locate the person who had just spoken. A rushing wind sound appeared from the distance. Soon after, a figure flew out and appeared in the sky in front of many pairs of eyes. The person who had just shown up was exactly Lindong, who had entered the heavenly cave a few days ago. "Who are you? How dare you barge into our celestial demon Martin tribe? Are you courting death?" Some elders in the celestial demon Martin tribe were furious when they saw him. Immediately, vast and mighty yuan power surged as they prepared to capture him. "This young friend, may I know what exactly do you mean?" Zhu Li waved his hand and stopped the many elders. His eyes were staring intently at Lindong. That was because he clearly heard what the latter said previously. Moreover, as the first elder of the celestial demon Martin tribe, he was naturally familiar with the word YMO. You elders of the celestial demon Martin tribe are truly a muddle-headed bunch. Not only has the YMO invaded your tribe, but a trap was even placed within your heavenly cave, and all the experts currently undertaking a seclusion within have fallen into a hallucination. To think that all of you have failed to detect it even after so many years. You guys have really become a bunch of dotards. Lindong glanced at those elders and involuntarily laughed coldly. "Brat, how dare you utter such nonsense? You are truly courting death." The two celestial demon Martin tribe elders, who had consistently supported Joyo, had a drastic change in their expressions. They cried out before they charged forward explosively. Both of them attacked together as they tried to capture Lindong. When Lindong saw those two elders charging towards him ruthlessly, he curled his lips. However, he showed no intention of putting up a defense. However, the space behind Lindong suddenly rippled when those two elders were about to reach him. Following which, a dark golden-haired majestic figure appeared beside him. The latter extended his hand and clenched it. Immediately, the bodies of the two celestial demon Martin tribe elders, who have reached the samsara stage, froze. The both of you are so anxious to deliver a killing blow. Is it because you guys have a guilty conscience? The majestic figure's eyes contained an endlessly majestic aura as he stared at the two elders in front of him, who now wore terrified expressions. Finally, his deep voice sounded. "Tribe leader? Greetings to the tribe leader." The many celestial demon Martin tribe members had a drastic change in their expressions when they saw the figure in the sky. All of them began to kneel a moment later before their respectful voice reverberated across the entire place. A large number of people on the square were kneeling down. Meanwhile, a tinge of joy and excitement, which could not be concealed, surged onto the faces of all the celestial demon Martin tribe members present. Their tribe leader had been in a cultivation seclusion for 100 years. Although there were elders handling the tribe's matters, they only acknowledged the tribe leader as their true leader. Amidst the kneeling figures, little Martin stood up straight. He stared at the imposing figure in the sky, before he curled his lips slightly. However, there was joy and relief rising deep within his eyes. Little Martin also knew that as of now, he was still unable to shoulder the burden of the entire celestial demon Martin tribe. This responsibility still had to be carried by his father. Standing in the sky, Joyo's expression changed drastically when he saw that the celestial demon Martin tribe leader had appeared. However, he quickly concealed his expression, before he knelt down respectfully and greeted the tribe leader. Nevertheless, he involuntarily clenched his fist, which was hidden under his sleeve. "Tribe leader." In the sky, the two elders, who were planning to attack Lindong, also had a drastic change in their expressions. In fact, there was a trace of fear in their eyes as they hurriedly knelt down in midair. That imposing figure standing in front of Lindong calmly surveyed the situation in front of him. After which, he turned his head and looked at the only tall figure standing below. Immediately, a complicated expression flashed across his eyes. "You unfilial son. So you are still alive." Little Martin glanced at the celestial demon Martin tribe leader. His lazy voice held little respect as he said, "Old man, are you so anxious to attend the funeral of your own child? Outrageous, how rude." The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe chided. However, judging by the smile on his face, everyone could tell just how happy he was after he finally saw his own son again, who had been missing for 100 years. "Tribe leader, you have finally left your seclusion." Zhu Li also stood up at this moment. His body moved before he appeared in front of the celestial demon Martin tribe leader. Promptly, joy surfaced on his elderly face. "First elder, you have truly let me down this time around." The celestial demon Martin tribe leader looked at Zhu Li, before he frowned and spoke in a deep voice. "Tribe leader?" Zhu Li was startled. Clearly, he did not understand why the tribe leader was reprimanding him. The heavenly cave is an important place to our celestial demon Martin tribe. However, the YMO had planted the eternal illusion demon flowers within, causing all the experts who were undergoing a cultivation seclusion within, including me, to fall into a hallucination. If it is not because young friend Lindong snuck in to rescue us, it is likely that our celestial demon Martin tribe would have suffered a severe blow. The leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe cried out sternly. "What?" Zhu Li's face turned ashen pale upon hearing this. In fact, every celestial demon Martin tribe member below also stood up suddenly, with faces filled with shock. They were indeed being set up. A cold expression flashed across little Martin's handsome face. He vaguely guessed that something was amiss in the heavenly cave. However, he never expected it to be truly the case. "Tribe leader, is this for real?" Zhu Li was trembling as he asked. Clearly, he had suffered a great shock. If all the top experts undergoing a cultivation seclusion in the heavenly cave were wiped out, their celestial demon Martin tribe would suffer a massive blow that could potentially lead to their downfall. At that time, they would no longer be considered as one of the 4 overlord tribes. Therefore, if this incident was true, he would not be able to atone for his sins even if he was to die 10,000 times over. The YMO had indeed secretly planted eternal illusion demon flowers inside the heavenly cave. All the powerful individuals, who were undertaking a cultivation seclusion within, had all descended into a hallucination. Standing beside him, Lindong said, "Young brother, may I know who you are?" Zhu Li hurriedly cupped his hands together before he asked in an extremely polite manner. Haha, my name is Lin Dong, Little Martin's sworn older brother. Little Martin is the one who invited me to the celestial demon Martin tribe. Lin Dong smiled before he glanced at Little Martin below. Since Little Martin called him over to deal with such a troublesome matter, he naturally had to take advantage of Little Martin as well. The celestial demon Martin tribe members in the vicinity were stunned as they turned to stare at Little Martin. They were well aware of just how proud Little Martin was. In fact, even the elders in the celestial demon Martin tribe could not get him to lower his head. Yet, this human called Lin Dong was actually his sworn older brother. Standing below, when Little Martin saw the bewildered stares directed at him, the corner of his lips twitched involuntarily. This young friend Lin Dong is a pretty decent guy. At least, he is much more reliable than that little fellow. The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe said in a faint voice. Lin Dong laughed secretly in his heart. This father and son duo was quite interesting. However, he quickly regained his focus before he turned somewhat sharp eyes towards the two celestial demon Martin tribe elders who were standing in front of him, as well as Joyo, who was at a short distance away. First elder, not only did the YMO set a trap in the heavenly cave, but they have also snuck into your tribe. What? Zhu Li's expression changed drastically. His eyes, which were glowing, suddenly became sharp. A frightening aura suddenly swept out from within his body and enveloped the sky. Everyone could feel that Zhu Li was currently probing for the YMO hidden amongst them. However, his probing was clearly completely futile. Hence, he withdrew his aura while wearing a gloomy expression a moment later. First elder, the YMO have many mysterious techniques and you will not be able to detect their presence by using an ordinary probing. Lin Dong laughed. Does young brother Lin Dong have a solution? Zhu Li was also an experienced individual. Promptly, he rotated his eyes and stared at Lin Dong. The latter was merely at the advanced profound death stage, yet, he was able to rescue the celestial demon Martin tribe leader, who had fell into a hallucination in the heavenly cave. This was not something that an ordinary profound death stage brat could accomplish. Leave this matter to young friend Lin Dong. The leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe smiled faintly. Subsequently, he took a step forward before his eyes swept across the square. Immediately, the surrounding yuan power became a little violent. I want to find out what YMO dares to act so wantonly within my celestial demon Martin tribe. Lin Dong nodded. After which, his eyes loomed towards the two elders of the celestial demon Martin tribe, who were planning to attack him previously. He smiled faintly and said, Are the both of you going to continue concealing yourselves? This little brother. The both of us do not know what you are saying. The two elders' expressions gently changed. Promptly, their voice was a little hoarse as they said. Since you do not know, I will make the both of you show yourselves. Lin Dong smiled. He clenched his hand before an ancient stone symbol surfaced. A warm white light rose and transformed into a mysterious light symbol. After which, Lin Dong flicked his finger, before the light symbol split apart and turned into two light rays that enveloped those two elders. When the warm white light shone onto the bodies of those two elders, they immediately circulated their yuan power in an attempt to block that light. However, they quickly realized that the white light posed no harm to them. Instead, they were stunned when they saw traces of black chi seeping out from the surface of their skin whenever the white light shone on them. Moreover, that black chi was filled with an extremely evil scent. You too? Zhu Li's expression turned icy cold when he saw this scene. His sharp eyes stared intently at the both of them. Both of your bodies should contain a devil seed, am I right? It is unexpected that members of the celestial demon Martin tribe would actually accept such an evil object. Lin Dong looked at the two of them, who were currently bewildered, as he said with a faint smile. You? The two elders were bewildered, while a dark and vicious expression rose from within their eyes. Suddenly, the both of them shot forward while evil demonic auras surged from within their bodies. Their auras also began to soar at this moment. You two traitors! Zhu Li released a furious roar. Taking a step forward, vast and mighty yuan power gathered around him. Not only did his yuan power contain a perfectly merged life chi and death chi, but it also had an additional mysterious ripple. It was the scent of reincarnation. First Elder Zhu Li had actually touched reincarnation. Hence, his strength far exceeded that of an ordinary samsara stage expert. First Elder Zhu Li waved his large hand before the sky dimmed. Following which, two large glowing claws descended from the sky and directly enveloped the two elders, who were wrapped with demonic aura. Bang bang! When they saw this scene, the two elders threw a punch immediately. Following which, evil demonic aura transformed into ferocious large pythons that blocked that huge glowing claws. Then, their bodies moved before they rushed 10,000 feet forward. Clearly, their strength had soared with the help of the YMO chi. Humph! An icy-cold expression surfaced in the eyes of the celestial demon Martin tribe leader when he saw that the two of them were trying to resist. He extended his hand and grabbed at the two of them from a great distance away. Bang! The space where the two of them were located collapsed almost instantly. After which, the both of them spat out blood due to the frightening pressure from their surroundings. Their auras also became feeble almost instantaneously. Two ultimate samsara stage experts were subdued the moment the tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe made his move. The strength of a reincarnation stage expert was truly terrifying. The both of you are extremely senior elders in our tribe. However, I never expected that the both of you would actually commit such a traitorous act. The celestial demon Martin tribe leader's icy cold voice contained some fury, as it reverberated across the sky. Fury rose in the eyes of the celestial demon Martin tribe members below when they saw this scene. As members of the celestial demon Martin tribe, they possessed their own pride that was inherited from the ancient times. Yet, such an embarrassing incident still ended up occurring. The demonic aura has already invaded their minds when they activated the devil seeds. Hence, their minds have been corrupted. Tribe leader, there is no point in being angry at them. Lin Dong shook his head and softly said, right now, we should focus on eliminating the potential threats within the celestial demon Martin tribe. We will have to trouble you, young friend Lin Dong. The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe looked at Lin Dong. Devil seeds were extremely well hidden and even he had difficulties locating them. Yet, it was obvious that Lin Dong possessed some special means to do so. Lin Dong smiled and nodded. After which, his eyes swept across the many members of the celestial demon Martin tribe, who were standing below. Everyone felt a chill over their skin when they saw that pair of eyes looking over. Lin Dong's eyes swept over the jittery crowd, before he subsequently lifted his head. Finally, in front of many startled onlookers, his eyes paused on an indifferent-looking Hao Joyo. Brother Hao Joyo, is there a need to continue hiding? Lin Dong's eyes stared at Hao Joyo before he laughingly said. The entire place became completely silent. They were startled as they stared at Hao Joyo, who was standing in the sky. Could it be that he was also corrupted by the YMO? This video will end here.